everyone, and welcome to the Transformation Triumph Summit. My name is Jamie Allen Bishop, one of your hosts for this event. I am so honored and excited to introduce these authors with their special wisdom and insights to share. I imagine that you're here because one of the topics appealed to you, or perhaps you're on a transformation journey of your own. I welcome you to enjoy, listen, observe, and take away some of the insights that these authors are sharing so that you can streamline your transformation triumphs. And now, here's more about each of our authors.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. This is Margaret Dennis. I cannot wait to introduce her, so let me just get started. In 2008, Margaret Dennis faced the unbearable loss of her 3-day-old son. Twin to her daughter, Lily, this devastating experience plunged her into the depths of grief, where she confronted her deepest fears and unearthed layers of trauma. Within her pain, she discovered an unshakable inner strength that ignited her life purpose to guide other women through their grief, freeing them from the chains of their past and allowing them to rediscover joy. Yay. Today, Margaret stands as a driving force behind Evolve, EVOLV coaching, serving as CEO and founder, a TEDx speaker, educator, writer, and certified Dare to Declare vision board facilitator. All while indulging in her funky shoe addiction, which I love. I love that little piece of the introduction. So thank you for adding it. And thank you so much for being here, Margaret.
Oh, you're very welcome, Jamie. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And so question-wise, this is an interview specifically for the Transformation Triumphs book compilation anthology that you said yes to. So first of all, what does Transformation Triumphs mean to you?
So for me, transformation triumphs are things that we've been able to go through, some gracefully, some not, but to come out the other side stronger, better, having learned some lessons, and really stepping more into who we are. I think transformation triumphs, for me, the word transformation really is an internal impact versus an external, unless you're looking at like weight loss or something that'll be visible. But even weight loss is an internal job too. So I would say transformation triumphs are internal triumphs that we've had for ourselves that really help us to become a better person and to move closer to the person that we are supposed to be.
Love that answer. Love that answer. All right. So I love that answer of transformation triumphs. It is, I agree totally that even if it's a physical manifestation of transformation, you still have so much inside work to do to get there. So yeah. I completely agree with that statement.
Yeah.
When it comes to saying a yes to this exciting adventure, what made you say yes?
I'm a passionate writer. I love to write. I love the different avenues of sharing my story and sharing it so that if it can help one person, then that's what I'm here for. So for me, this was a no-brainer. It was an automatic yes. And I love the idea of being part of a collaboration where everybody's sharing their stories and everybody has something different to add. And so whoever reads the book is going to find at least one thing in that book that's going to be helpful. And maybe it's with someone else, but they read my chapter and they know someone who might be able to benefit from what I've contributed. And I love that idea of the collaboration. I'm a firm believer that in order for us to rise and really be the people that we need to be, collaboration is where it's at. I could definitely go off and do my own book, which I'm working on, but the idea of just supporting each other and being part of something bigger and greater is very exciting for me.
I love that you alluded to the fact of collaborations and then supporting one another and people needing our story. So that being said, do you believe that we all come here with a purpose? And if so, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, I do believe we all come here with a purpose. And I think some of us have lost our way, or some of us don't even realize it. For me, I have always felt that I am here for something bigger, something greater, and I'm still figuring that out. Although I think I'm pretty close to what it is. And I never in a million years would have thought that would end up where I am now. But when I'm in that space and doing the work, I feel like I'm actually doing what I was meant to do. I think to satisfy my be in that space. But it was a long journey to get here. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I think everybody has a purpose. And I think sometimes we find it when we're young, and other times it takes us a few decades and experiences. And, the universe throws us those experiences to have that put us on course and teach us the lessons we need to learn in order to get to the purpose that we're supposed to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does 100%. And not to interrupt Jamie, but I know that unshakable tends to be your word. So how does that fit into all of that?
Perfect.
So for me, unshakable for me has become the big word of this year. It started out with, I'm really aligned with the word empowered. I'm a women's life empowerment and grief coach. And so empowerment for me has been a huge word for so long. And then this year, with a colleague, we created we created camps for teenage girls. And when we did that, we needed to we talked about it being empowerment for them, right? Teaching them about how to increase their self-worth and self-confidence. And how do they do that? There's no camps out there that teach girls how to do this. And when we were talking about what to call it, we're like, we can't really use empowered. That word is overused. It's everywhere. It really, really is. And so we did a mapping exercise with different words, and we came down to unshakable. And when we got to that word and landed on it, we were like, oh, yes, these girls are going to become unshakable within themselves. And so my messaging has now shifted to become around the term unshakable, because it seems like it's even stronger and deeper and more meaningful. It has so much more, I don't know, juice, oomph to it than just empowered. And so that's why we landed on unshakable.
Perfect. When it comes to being unshakable, can you share any tips or anything that might come in handy for somebody as maybe a baby step in the right direction?
Yes, I can. Funny you should ask. I actually have an ebook on my website. It's free for people to download, and it's called The 10 Tips for Becoming Unshakable. And the very first thing it talks about is being able to correctly label and identify your emotions. And so if you can do that, that's really the first step. It's identifying how you feel and what's going on inside of you is the first step for any form of healing, any form of growth, any form of being able to move forward. And it is absolutely the first step in becoming unshakable. But tied to that is not only being able to correctly identify and label those emotions, and an emotion wheel, if you can get them off the internet, will help you with that. Because you're not just sad. If you're sad, that's great, but well, it's not great. But if you're sad, why are you sad? Go deeper, right? Are you frustrated? Are you disappointed? Are you angry? Like, what's harboring that? So really understanding, that's what I mean by labeling it and identifying what the emotion is. But the next step to that, which is actually the big key piece, is giving yourself permission to feel whatever that emotion is that you feel. We judge ourselves so often on feeling emotions that we think we shouldn't be feeling, or that other people will judge us on feeling. And so instead of feeling them, we feel guilty for feeling them, and then we push it all down, and then it just gets buried and we turn into a pressure cooker, and eventually those emotions come out anyway. So if you can identify them and give yourself permission to feel them, you don't have to feel them in public. Go somewhere private if you really don't want to have other people see you, but feel them, or else they are going to build up. And becoming unshakable becomes harder and harder to do, because you're fighting the unconscious and all those body memories and all those emotions. So, yeah.
Well, and so you shared the 2 points of how we become unshakable, but share why it's important for us to go through that process. What is the end result of being unshakable for us?
When you can become unshakable, you are firm within yourself. You know who you are. You are not swayed by other people's opinions. In fact, you really don't give a shit about other people's opinions, which is a really hard place for a lot of women to get to. We are, we are born to be people pleasers. And so it removes that element of being a people pleaser. Not that you become a bitch and not that you become hard, but you become really true to yourself and your authentic you. And when you're in a state of being unshakable, you don't have to bob and weave and become somebody different in every situation. You are you across the board in your career, in your family, with your friends. You are truly stepping into who you are. And you build up this self-confidence and this self-worth, but it also brings a sense of calm and peace inside you because you've made room for those emotions to come. And you've made room for having that kind of life where you're going after your dreams. You might be doing it crazy fast, or you might be plodding along step by step, but you are really leaning into who you are without worrying about what other people think. And I think for me, that's been the biggest thing that I've achieved because I was a people pleaser for a very long time. Look up the dictionary, there's my picture. And to be able to release that, like there's still little edges that come up with me every once in a while. I'm like, nope, that doesn't matter. This is not for me. That's theirs, that's not me. And so, yeah, being able to stand in your own power, being able to stand in your own truth and your own authenticity and show up as you, doing the things that you love, doing the things that you enjoy, doing the things that you're passionate about, loving the people you want to love, being surrounded by the tribe of people that you want to be with. And when you get to that place, you know what? You find those people. They come to you. They're drawn to you. There's an energy about you that draws those people to you. And it is so amazing to be in a space where you don't have to be somebody else. You can just be you. So
Love that answer. The unshakable piece and what I hear you talking about, the emotional intelligence piece, is how I view it, is knowing what emotions you're dealing with. And then, to me, the next step is communication on some level, in some way. How do we articulate what it is that we're feeling to those around us so that we're being emotionally intelligent and being able to communicate that properly so that we're serving ourselves, but also serving them in how to grow and become and all that kind of good stuff. Talk a little bit more about that piece of it, what that looks like.
around the communication.
I think so. I mean, I don't know if you go there, but I feel like that's kind of.
I think it's a very important part, right? Like the first part is getting to know yourself and being able to identify those emotions. But then it is really important to communicate that articulately and accurately to those around you, right? But also take ownership for your emotions. Somebody doesn't make you mad. You choose to be mad. And I think that's a big thing that people overlook, is that they don't think they have a choice in how they feel. They do. We react and I always tell people, take a couple of breaths and respond, don't react. And when you respond in a different place with a different feeling. But if you're constantly just knee-jerk reacting to everything, emotions come up. But as far as communicating the emotion, I love the emotion wheel. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but if you're having trouble communicating, pull out the emotion wheel, figure it out, and then bring it to somebody and say, this is how I feel right now. And I'm trying to figure out why, and I'm trying to figure out, this is what happened between us, whether they said something or did something. If it triggered an emotion inside of you, you need to take ownership for that and then communicate to them and say, I feel like this. When this happened, this is how I feel. And the other person can take it however they want. That's on them, right? But it's up to you to communicate correctly and appropriately and without blame. It's like, own your emotions, own your reactions. And that also helps you to become unshakable when you take full ownership for your emotions and your reactions. And to be able to say to someone, I'm really angry, this happened, you said this, and I feel angry, or I feel hurt, or I feel upset, or I feel disrespected, or I feel really excited, and I feel whatever it is, own it. Own it and step into that and relay it. All you can do is be honest, right? Honest is huge. And we have a hard time being honest with people because we don't want to hurt their feelings either, right? Or we want to avoid an argument, or we want to avoid any confrontation or anyone feeling upset. And so then we don't share that information. But when you share it, you open up the opportunity to have a conversation and to change that.
Or we want to avoid the vulnerability too.
Oh, it's hugely vulnerable, hugely vulnerable to express how you feel, because you're putting your heart out there, you're putting your emotions out there. And again, you're risking being judged on how you feel. You're risking somebody thinking, what you feel is ridiculous, or you're being silly, or they will discount your emotions, which then you retreat, right? It's like, well, then maybe I shouldn't be feeling this way. And yes, it is an extremely vulnerable place to be. But that's where growth happens, right? When you can step into that vulnerability, that's where growth happens. And part of becoming unshakable is being brave and courageous enough to step into that vulnerability.
Yeah, huge. Thank you for all of that. Tell us where we can find you.
Oh, you can find me in a few places.
Perfect. Good. Go for it.
I have my website, which is www.evolvecoaching.com, and it's www.evolvecoaching.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, either at my personal handle, which is Margaret Dennis, or on my company page, Evolve Coaching. You can find me on Instagram at Evolve Coaching, and you can find me on Facebook at Evolve Coaching, or if you want to follow me personally, you can do that too. But yes, I am all over those places. People can find me there. And there's a ton of resources on my website that I've just uploaded a whole bunch of things that people can access and learn from. And then those who are here in the Ottawa area, there's a lot of live workshops coming up in the next few months too. So yeah.
How exciting.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for all you do for everybody in your community and around the world. You are now officially an international speaker, and the reach goes beyond our own backyard. And I'm so grateful that you've stepped up to the plate for that. So thank you.
Thank you very much for providing the opportunity to do so. I'm super excited for the book to come out. Was very excited for the speaker summit. It was an amazing experience. So thank you both very much for putting that out there for people to join.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Margaret.